Hey guys, it's Penelope in London, and we're going to look that we've got Mars is going to be moving into the sign of Cancer this week. Coming the exact date, we'll look at solar fire, but I'm going to show you firstly the chart that we have in front, and I'm going to explain from an evolutionary astrology perspective, which I'm into evolutionary astrology, that we're looking at what that means. So there are various things going on here right now. We can see, if I get my pointer, here it is. So what you can see is you've got on this chart, you've got Pluto and you've got the moon is in an opposition right now. And this is tough energy. You know, the moon is our emotions and Pluto is all below that's in the unconscious. And as a result of that, a lot of us may be having a difficult time right at this moment. And as we move through life, the whole point is that we're evolving something and we're bringing something to consciousness to be revealed so that we get to a place where we evolve and we overcome something within us. So this is quite deep stuff that's going on. And then we've got, it's in a T-square to the sun. So you can see that that moon is moving, when it moves to 0 degrees, then it's going to be square. So this is going on for a few days, this moon in the sign of Cancer, because we got the sun at 0 degrees Taurus. It's literally just moved in. You can see up here. And we've also got the moon in the sign of Cancer. So that will be a square 369, a square 90 degrees. It's moving on in. And then we've got Mercury, which is 1 degree of, you can see right there, of Taurus as well. And it'll be interesting actually what happens when the sun conjuncts Uranus when it hits Uranus in 10 degrees. So that's 10 days or less. I haven't looked at that today, but we will coming up. So the Mars energy, if we look at the Mercury in Taurus, let's look at that because Mercury is the quickest moving planet around, apart from the moon. Mercury takes 88 days around the chart. The moon takes 28 days roughly. So it's where we stop being so carefree and we become thorough and precise, and it's influenced by the earth when it's in Mercury. I've got Mercury in Taurus, so it's influenced by the earth and it awakens our contemplation. I will tell you actually, this is AstroSeek that I'm using, astro-seek, astro-seek.com. So do go here and you can get your own birth chart. But coming back to that, it's important that you know what I'm using as I flip through whatever I'm doing on my screen. So it will awaken our contemplation, and also it's, you know, looking at evidence for our findings and opinions, which we're going to be doing. Clearly, we've got a lot going on in society, trying to figure out what's right for us. And also it's in Taurus. Taurus is ruled by Venus, and Venus is to do with our inner needs when it's in Taurus as well. And we've also got Venus in Taurus too. It's also where we like to think deeply, and it's also, you know, we're getting good knowledge, and it's about what we're interested in and enjoying the process of learning as well. And it's also about food as well with it in Taurus, our inner needs. So it will be interesting as that moves through. And currently we can see it's conjunct the sun, and then it will conjunct Venus, and then it will conjunct Uranus as it moves through, and it's 88 days. So then if we can take so much from a chart. I mean, clearly not for everybody, but we've got that Jupiter is trine to Mars, and Mars is moving off. It's 26, it's just in a trine. And then the other thing that we have is that we've got, I'm just looking at what else is going on here. We've got Neptune, that looks like a sextile too. Let's see. If we go here, Neptune, let's see what Neptune is doing. We haven't got it here, okay. But I would say that we've got Chiron sextile to Saturn, which is quite useful to us. It's our healing. Sun square Pluto. So we can see there, we've got the Sun square Pluto. This is not an easy energy we're working with. But when that moon moves off, then this opposition, and we will just be left with them, the sun as it moves off through moving off Pluto. So with the Mars, I will jump over to solar fire. I want to show you, because Mars takes 2 years to move around the chart, I'm going to show you now my chart briefly and make sure I'm on the right page. So you can see that Mars, for me, when it moves into the sign of Cancer, it's still part in my 7th house. You can see Mars here. It's in my 7th house at the moment here. But then when it goes in, for me, my house, 8th house, then it will move into my 8th house. So that's very deep. I have 8th house Cancer ruling and the moon. So it's very interesting how this affects us. It's not just one thing. So if I look here, the Cancer is the 4th house. So if we go to the 4th house, my 4th house is here. And if I look at the ruler of my 4th house is Neptune. So it's going to affect my Neptune. So it doesn't just do one thing. We need to go dig deeper. Now, what you want to do is if you go to astro.com, you can also get a chart and you'll be able to see from this angle what it looks like. So I can see that the sun for me is in my 5th house still. And I can see that Mercury is in my 5th house. Venus has just entered my 6th house, which will be related to my work, which I'm quite happy with. And then Mercury will move on in there as well. So when you look at your chart, you're looking at many different things, and then you're looking at what all of these planets are aspecting. So this is good to know when you're looking at your own chart. So now what I'm going to do is change to solar fire. And here you can see that we've got right now, let me take this spotlight off and then back on again. And then what we have is that you can see here, this is the collective chart. You can see 0 degrees Sun, Taurus, then you can see Mercury, then you can see Venus. So look at the moon. The moon is in opposition at the moment to Pluto up here. This is the 19th of April. And this is because I'm in the UK. If you watch this a bit earlier, it might be the 18th. If you're in the USA, it's going to be a few hours behind, depending on what time you watch this video, because I'll upload it to YouTube. So if we go hours ahead, I want you to see that. I will go into Mars in a minute, but see the Pluto and the moon. So if we go hours ahead, and we'll see that square move off. Not square, sorry, opposition. As the moon moves through, it will move through and it won't be in opposition anymore as it gets into the sign of Leo. So if we go back to today, there you go. So if we go here today and then we look at Mars, so let's look at Mars, and I'll do a bit of reading on Mars, and then I will explain to you about Mars, and then we will see where this chart's going, how long Mars is going to be in the sign of Cancer. So what we're really looking at with Mars in the sign of Cancer is where it's about our safety and our personal space and our personal reality. And what we need to do is we need to move from seeking our needs from external forms or structures to realizing our own inner security. And with what Mars here is trying to do, because Mars will have a very difficult time in water. It just does in the sign of Cancer, because Cancer is very emotional. It's the moon. So if if you throw in the moon and you throw in Mars, you can see what's going on there. It's a bit of an emotional roller coaster, or it's a swimmy emotional roller coaster. And it's trying to get us to seek within that the security we seek is within us. And this is where we're going to struggle, because clearly there's so much going on in the world with various things, which I don't need to mention, which we know that, we're very emotional about it at the moment. The difference is people are making different choices about what they think is right for them. People think they know what is correct, when actually none of us know how things are going to play out exactly this year with regard to certain things. I'm being a bit cryptic here, but I think we can all get the meaning. So where security needs are not being met, we may experience emotional conflict. And when we look at this, the 4th house is the sign of Cancer, and the 5th house is the 10th house is the sign of Capricorn. So we've got the parent-child thing going on. We've got government, 10th house, Capricorn, got government and such like, and our self-image and the public eye. And then we've got the depths of our childhood, the child. So we can see this 10th, 4th axis here. So it can be, the feeling of something going wrong any moment. It's about disruption of our structure. It's where we can have dominance and people being domineering, and also it's where our needs are not met, and we may be, if our needs are not met, we may feel displaced with anger. So that's just that, idea of that, what's going to happen with that Mars moving through the 4th house of Cancer. But wherever it is for you, for instance, as I just explained, it's happening in my 8th house. So I can understand what's going on there for me roughly at the moment. It can be a breakdown of trust with this Mars moving through the sign of Cancer. And it can cause projection and acting out of our own displaced emotions. It can be where we're emotionally frozen, from fear and feeling emotionally vulnerable. So what we would do then is we want to look at the house that Mars is in for us. And then we want to, the sign also that it's moving through. And then we want to look at our own Mars and then what's happening there. And also we want to take into account the moon, because the Cancer is the 4th house. So we look at that. And then we look at the ruler of our own 4th house. So that's a bit confusing, but some people will get what I'm talking about here. So it's where we need to learn to inwardly become secure. And we could be triggered because of the moon, I've said, and because of we want to be aware of the things that actually trigger us, which the more healing work we've done, depending on our own work that we've been doing, looking at our own shadow, we know what triggers us. So it doesn't have to be a bad time for all of us, but we can just be aware. And we could also look at the phasal relationship, which is another video I'll do, and what phasal relationship is for us between Mars and Pluto. So what we would do is measure the degrees. And there's a brilliant part in Jeff Wolf Green, Pluto 2, Pluto 1 or Pluto 2. Both of those books are brilliant, looking at the different stages of our spiritual journey and the degrees between Mars and Pluto. Then we've got, we could have anxiety, separation going on, and also where we have fear of vulnerability and who do we trust. So when we look at fate, which is a really interesting thing, when we look at the work of Carl Jung, which I'll bring up here, there is a meme that goes around that says, until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate. What Carl Jung actually said, and which is worth to know in the book Ion, paragraph 126, he said, the psychological rule says that when an inner situation is not made conscious, it happens outside as fate. So we can see that. It doesn't mean it is fate. It's just that we're trying to bring something to our consciousness. And with the Mars in Cancer, it's, also attached to Pluto. So Pluto is the unconscious, and then Mars is where it's part unconscious, but then it's where we bring things into consciousness through our goals and our libido, not just the sexual libido, but the libido of the psyche, the movement. This happens through dreams, it happens through interaction with others, it can happen through synchronistic events as well. And then the Mars in Cancer is also where we can be irrational, we could have jealousy, we could be demanding, it could be unresolved anger, from childhood. Also emotionally, if we understand our evolutionary intention or understand the evolutionary intention of what's going on for us, that with the Mars in Cancer is that what we're trying to do is find our inner security. So when we found our own inner security, then we can be supportive and nurturing to others and help people, and then we can help each other heal. And we can do that in a way that's non-manipulative and also then it allows us to empower others. And I think the last thing there, let me just see what else I wrote down on my notes. So also the other thing we want to do, because, the polarity is the sign of Capricorn, we want to accept responsibility and use our determination and be mature. So we're looking at the polarity of what that Mars is up to. What is it telling us? And also you would then take the houses into account. So when we look at the sign of Cancer as a sign, we can see that fundamentally it's to do with the ego. So we can have a healthy ego. Ego is not just defined as being bad. So it's to do with the womb. It's to do with our security, protection, the clan, ancestors. It's inner nurturing, protection. It can be neglect, also helpless and needs, emotions. It's our self-image. It's where we can be touchy It's to do with the womb, our childhood environment, children, home, our roots, whatever our roots are. Roots don't have to be in a particular place. And then it's gender roles and the house husband, housewife. And then if we take Taurus, that moon, sorry, the sun, if we look at these planets in Taurus, this will be useful to us. The definition of Taurus would be self-sufficiency, security. We could be isolated. It could be withdrawal. There can be stagnation. It's to do with survival, fertility, procreation, reliance, self-resources, inner resources, our values, beauty. It's to do with, it can be also to do with poverty. It's where we can feel shut down, being stubborn, hoarding. It's to do with the body and pleasure. And it's materialistic, it's possessions, landowner. Also, we've got self-sufficiency, patience as well. The bull, Taurus, being patient. So let's see now if we take this. We've also got, we do know that Saturn is squaring Uranus for the whole of this year. So this is, a struggle between being restricted to wanting to break free of limitations. We've got eclipses coming up. We've got a full moon coming up in Scorpio, end of the month. We've got Pluto, which is going to go retrograde this month as well. Next month, we've got also Saturn will go retrograde, but this is a lot of information I'm giving you. So we're really looking at the now. Now, what I want to do is take this 27 degrees Gemini we've been communicating a lot with this Mars in Gemini, and we're going to go forward now by days. So this will fall into the sign of Cancer. Let's see this. We're going to go days ahead. It's 28 degrees, 29, and there you go. On the 23rd, it will be in the sign of Cancer, and it will remain there. We're going to go days ahead. We'll better go weeks ahead, actually. So let's go. Watch Mars. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Here it goes, 7 weeks. So it's there until the 11th of June. So there's a lot more work to do on this chart. It's not the be all and end all. Mars will be doing all sorts of things as it moves through. You can see there actually, as it moves through, it will trine to the south node, and it will be doing lots of different things, but I won't go into that now. I hope this has been useful for you. So check out where Mars is going to be for you as it moves into its next evolutionary stage through another sign. Okay, catch you later. Thanks for watching.